Let me tell you something most people never hear early enough in life. They don't have to understand you, and they probably never will. And guess what? That's not your problem. You see, we spend so much of our lives chasing approval, trying to explain ourselves, fit in, be liked. But every time you shape yourself to fit someone else's box, you shrink. Every time you beg to be seen, you hand over your power. And the moment you stop doing that, that's the moment you stop being a reaction to the world, and you start being a force in it. You weren't born to be understood by everyone. You were born to live in truth, even if that truth feels lonely at first. Think about it. How much time have you lost rewriting yourself just to be accepted? How much peace have you sacrificed for applause that didn't last? This is the first truth you need to swallow if you want real freedom. You don't need to be understood. You need to be aligned. Because from that place of alignment, you become unstoppable. Let's be honest. Most people are addicted to validation. They crave being understood like it's oxygen. They'll explain themselves over and over. They'll shrink their truth, lower their standards, just to feel accepted. But here's the problem. The more you chase understanding, the further you get from peace. Why? Because misunderstanding isn't rare. It's the default. People won't always see your vision, feel your pain, or grasp your intentions. And if you tie your peace to their approval, you'll never stop bleeding for it. Think about how exhausting that is. Living every day like you're on trial, defending your choices, explaining your heart to people who were never listening in the first place. What if you stopped? What if you let go of the need to be understood? I'll tell you what happens. You free up all that energy you've been wasting, and you finally start using it to build your life, not explain it. Your truth doesn't need translation. It needs conviction. And once you let go of needing to be seen, that's when the world starts noticing something deeper in you. Presence. Solid, silent, unshakable. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Let that sink in. You don't control other people's opinions. You don't control how they see you, or whether they ever will. You don't control the rejection, the judgment, or the silence. But you do control your response, and that's where the real power is. We waste so much of our lives trying to rearrange the world to feel peace, trying to win over critics, change people's minds, prove ourselves to those who never mattered. But the Stoics knew better. They knew peace was never found out there. It was always an inside job. So ask yourself, what if you stopped waiting for the world to clap? What if you stopped giving people the keys to your emotions? Because the truth is, you don't need their applause. You need your alignment. You don't need to be understood. You need to stand still when the world shakes. That's Stoic power. That's unshakable peace. Here's the question. Can you hold your ground? When you're being misunderstood, when you're criticized, rejected, even mocked, can you still stand tall without explaining yourself? That's not weakness. That's strength in its rawest form. Epictetus once said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." It sounds harsh until you realize what he meant. Growth doesn't announce itself. Real transformation happens in silence, in solitude, in moments no one claps for. You're not a PowerPoint presentation. You're not here to perform for the crowd. You are a soul, forged in fire, tempered by failure, hardened by truth. And when you stop explaining, you start becoming. You build silence like armor. You walk through noise without flinching. Not because it doesn't hurt, but because you've chosen what matters more. Your alignment over their approval. Let them misjudge you. Let them misunderstand. You don't need the world to get it. You need to be strong enough to keep going even when they don't. That's what makes you unshakable. That's what makes you real. Let me prepare you for something most people won't tell you. The moment you start living in alignment with your true values, your real values, not the ones handed to you by culture or expectation, you will lose people. Your friends might say you've changed. Your family might call you distant, arrogant, cold. They'll label what they don't understand because that's easier than confronting their own reflection in your discipline. But here's the truth. You're not here to meet their expectations. You're here to meet your own integrity. There comes a point where explaining yourself becomes a form of self-betrayal, where seeking approval becomes a slow erosion of your soul. And when that moment arrives, you stop defending your path. You stop softening your fire to make others feel warm. You walk forward, quietly, with no need for permission. The world may call it rejection, but you know what it really is? It's redirection toward the path that was always yours. And on that path, you don't need applause. You just need the courage to keep walking. You've probably heard it before. Why are you so quiet? As if silence is weakness, as if noise equals strength. But here's what they don't see. Silence is not the absence of words. It's the presence of power. When you've faced your demons in the dark, when you've sat alone with your anger, your hurt, your brokenness, and didn't run, you earn something no volume can ever give you: inner stillness. You speak less, not because you're afraid, but because you no longer need to prove anything. You don't react to every insult. You don't explain every move. Because when you carry peace inside you, the chaos outside no longer gets to decide who you are. That's when you become what I call a stoic warrior. One who moves in silence, holds the line, unshaken. Let others make noise. Let them burn out in their need to be heard. You'll win in the quiet, where real strength lives. Let me tell you something that changed my life. You will be misunderstood. Not might, not maybe. You will be. People will label you, misread you, doubt your intentions, because it's easier to judge than to understand. And the moment you stop trying to explain yourself to everyone is the moment you start breathing freely again. You're not here to shine under someone else's spotlight. You don't owe the world a PowerPoint presentation of your purpose. Your greatness doesn't need applause to exist. When you act from integrity, when you move from a place of alignment with your own values, you realize the opinions of others are just passing clouds. They come, they go, but the sky remains unchanged. So stop wasting your fire trying to warm those who choose to stay cold. You're not here to convince the small-minded. You're here to become someone even you can admire in the mirror. Let them misunderstand. Let them talk. You're building something far more powerful: peace with yourself. Here's the paradox of real strength. The less you explain, the more powerful your presence becomes. Think about it. The loudest ones in the room are usually the most uncertain, but the ones who speak little move with quiet purpose. Those are the ones who shift the atmosphere. You don't need to prove your worth. You live it. Be like water, adaptable, flowing, impossible to hold down. Be like stone, silent, grounded, unmoved by storms. The world doesn't need more people shouting for attention. It needs more who embody quiet power, those who know who they are even when no one's watching. Because true peace comes in the silence, when you've finally stopped chasing applause and started respecting yourself. In the dark, when no one's clapping. You see, the strongest people don't need to be understood. They just need to be true. And that is what freedom feels like. If this spoke to something in you, then share it. Not for me, but for someone else who needs to remember their own strength.